Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. So reporting tonight from Beirut, Lebanon. And let me tell you where I'm reporting from. I'm at the St. Michael's Foundation. That is La Fondation Saint-Michel, which is a center. It's a charity foundation, philanthropic organization, generally close to the Catholic Church. And it deals with children who have special problems, and they offer children a dispensary and a school and basically seamless service. We can tell you a couple of things more about this. We'll get a couple of key words for this in the course of what we're doing. But let's go back now to Homs on Tuesday. So here we are now. We're in the hospital. We've seen this demonstration. The demonstration is that people want fuel oil, and they're pro-Assad. They're militantly pro-Assad. They're shouting slogans for Assad. They're showing Assad's picture. This is just reality. This is what I saw. And it's not what I expected to see. I really didn't think it would be quite this strong. And this is stuff you cannot fake, because these were real people, right? I was basically rubbing elbows, right? I was in the crowd with them. So then we go to this hospital. And at the hospital, we're told that there's a steady stream of killed and wounded. The day we were there, 7 wounded and 5 dead. So we were there probably 7:30, 8 o'clock in the evening. 7 wounded, 5 dead that day. In particular, one case stood out that 5 terrorist shooters had killed 1 soldier. And we were told by the doctors that they got a daily death toll of 5 to 6. And that on some days, however, the snipers absolutely go wild, and one day they got 80 victims, I think, killed and wounded. When does this stuff happen? It seems to happen at various times. We're told that Friday, because of the Friday prayers, right, the typical Muslim holiday, Friday is a big day for these snipers. And there are certain times of day, right? In the morning when parents are taking their children to school, so 9 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or more or less where the school gets out, and then late in the evening, something like 10 or 11 o'clock. So you've got to imagine that you're a trained anesthesiologist or a specialist or general practitioner, and you're working in this hospital. As I talked to a couple of people, and they say, well, now I got to go home, and my big problem to get home from work is that I'm concerned that somebody's going to shoot me. A sniper. Now, what was the demand that these people had? They want the killing to end. And specifically the demand they want is they want more of the Syrian army. Not less, but more. They want a firmer line by the Assad government. And what one woman said in particular, she said, I want the Syrian army on every rooftop here in the Zahra area of Damascus, because that will stop them from shooting us. And they're full of hatred for these people, right? The shooters, people dressed in black, people wearing black hoods, and so forth. Complete contempt for them. And the main thing is, where's the Syrian army when we need them? And there's a complex story about this. We try to analyze this a little bit, right? That the Assad government at the beginning had put out an order saying that there should not be shooting at civilian demonstrators, and some military units were chopped to pieces, and they were still faithful to that order. In other words, they followed their orders, even if it meant taking very significant casualties when they came under fire. So that's the Homs story. Now, with this, of course, the entire Anglo-American presentation of the Syrian crisis is reduced to an absurdity. It just falls to the ground. It doesn't exist, because this is now Homs, the great city, right? This is the place where it's all supposed to be happening. Now, let's see. Do we have any? No, I guess I was going to go to an interview now, but we can't do the interview. Let's also talk about Banyas. Banyas is this other place, right? You look at Syria, it's kind of an oblong rectangle. It's a rectangle, a quadrilateral lying on its side, and there's a kind of a triangle with the point over on the left side, or it's a right triangle with the point over on the left side of the triangle. And you got to realize where the triangle is, there's no seacoast, because that's where we have Lebanon. And north of that, there is a coast on the Mediterranean, and that's where you have Tartus and Latakia and a couple of other cities. So here we are in Banyas on Wednesday, talking to people about a massacre that had occurred there in mid-April. And what the story was, this is the massacre at the Banyas Bridge, right? It's like, the bridge over various rivers in the Balkans. This is a group of about 105 soldiers of the Syrian army. They're not combat troops, they're logistical troops, with an officer or two, who are attacked by a group of shooters, of terrorists. 200 to 300 of these terrorists show up, and they start shooting. The soldiers are taken by surprise, and so far from being on some kind of an aggressive mission, are they, that they basically, a lot of them run away. There's 70 of them just hightail it out of there. 40 of the soldiers stay and, they just stay. They don't shoot, but because they've been ordered not to shoot by Assad. And 9 of them are killed in the process. And I talked to one guy who had lost both of his legs in the process. I think people have been pretty terribly wounded. In this case, it's a group of soldiers who are moving out in some vehicles, and they're trying to get to a point where the terrorists have put trucks on the superhighway. Right, there's a bunch of 4-lane highways here in Syria across the border. So this has been blocked by some trucks, and the shooters were therefore waiting in an ambush for the soldiers to come out of their base in their vehicles with the idea that they were going to go and try to clear the roads and open this up again. So it's a little bit north of Tartus. It's the river sort of at the northern edge of town, right by a mosque. So they say that there was pretty much unanimity among the people reporting that the minaret, right, the muezzin of the minaret, or the imam, or something like this, on Friday in the middle of April, had put out, instead of the usual call to prayer, they had gone into a special emergency mode from 3 to 6 p.m. in the afternoon and put out a call to kill various people. And they were this sort of conflicting accounts from the different eyewitnesses about this. And the imam of that mosque fled for at least a while. It's interesting that there was practically no riposte by the Syrian army. If you shoot up a U.S. military unit, it's going to come after you and try to wipe you out. I think that's true of many armies. But in the case of Syria, it's a restraint that in the eyes of many goes too far. Certainly, the people there in Banyas were telling us that it's too restrained, that they want a firmer line and a crackdown. So that's our, if you no idea, our second case. Back in a minute on World Crisis Radio.